Welcome back, everyone. In the past couple lessons, we looked at error handling. In this lesson, we are going to implement the forgot password functionality, and in the process, learn about using Zibs and presenting modal views programmatically. So let's jump in. First, let's take a look at our finished app to see what we are looking for. So here's our finished app. If we go to login, we can see our forgot password button here. So if I click on it, we have this nice little modal pop up and it says forgot your password, enter your email below and then check your inbox. So you would enter your email and click on reset password, and that will have Firebase actually send a reset email link to the email that you enter here, where you can reset the password. Pretty straightforward stuff. We have a label, a text field, and 2 buttons. Simple enough. But instead of doing this in Storyboard, we are going to instead use a Zib, or sometimes called a nib. All right, so Zib, Z-I-B, stands for XML Interface Builder. It's basically like Storyboard, but you typically only build a single view in it. And you don't do navigation using segues or anything. All right, just a little bit of history. Storyboards were actually introduced in iOS 5. Prior to that, every view controller would have its own Zib layout file, and you'd have to do all the segues and navigation programmatically. There are some things you can't do in a Zib that you can do in Storyboard, though. For instance, if you put in a table view, you won't be able to add prototype cells like you're used to doing in Storyboard. Instead, you would need to have the cells be their own Zib files and register them. And we're actually going to cover that later on, so stay tuned for that. So let's get started. Let's make this. First, we are going to need a new view controller file. I'm going to right click on our main folder here for Artable and say new group. And I'm going to call this Zibs. Okay. And then I'm going to right click on this and say new file. And this is going to be a Cocoa Touch class. And it's going to be a UI view controller. And we're going to call this forgot password VC. But this time, unlike other times when we've created UIViewController.swift files, we are going to also create a Zib file. So just check that and then say next and say create. Awesome. So now you'll see here in our Zibs folder, and we now have 2 files. We have our viewcontroller.swift file that we are used to seeing. Just going to delete these comments. But we also have this forgot password vc.zib file. And like I said, it looks very similar to Storyboard, but we only have a single view here. And I'm going to go ahead and change this to view as iPhone XR. There we go. And over here on the left, you'll see it's a little bit different. We have our view here in our safe area. This is as you would expect. But up here we have something called the file's owner. And if you click on it, you'll see that the class is the forgot password VC that we just created. And just to show you that table view thing that I was talking about. So if we drag in a table view here, you'll see that it's already looking very different from what you are used to seeing. And if you tried to drag in a table view cell, that just doesn't work. But we'll deal with that later. I'll show you how to work with that later. We can go ahead and build out our layout here. Okay, so just again, looking at our simulator here, we can see what it is that we are going to be building. I'm going to save a screenshot of that, because what's actually going to happen is you are going to try to build out this entire feature on your own, okay? This is a pretty big challenge, but I believe in you and I'm going to give you some hints, all right? So the layout should be pretty straightforward. You have a label, text field, and 2 buttons. This is a rounded view that we have already created, and these are our rounded button classes. And then you just need to set the view background color to be a dark transparent gray. Okay, so that's the layout. Then you'll go ahead and add your IB outlets and actions. And then in your forget password file, once you have your actions and your outlets, what you're going to need to do is figure out how to actually send the reset password email. And for that, If you remember a few lessons back, we actually took a look at the various methods and things that you can do to manage your Firebase user. So here's your hint. Just go ahead and Google iOS manage Firebase user. And this is the one that you want here, manage users in Firebase. And what you want to look for is a method that lets you reset a password and send an email link to that user's email. Then I want you to try to handle the error, and when it's successful, dismiss the modal. So once you have that all set up, then you're going to need to present this view controller when the user clicks on forgot password from the login view controller. So right here, you're going to need to programmatically present that view controller. And for this, I'll give you another hint. Google present modal view controller programmatically. And you should find a number of solutions. And you can do this in 4 lines of code or less. So it's not a lot of code here. All right, so good luck. Really try this. You'll feel awesome when you get it working on your own. And if you have any troubles, hit me up in the Slack or the QA here before going on to the next lesson. And if you just can't get it, don't worry. We will cover the solution in the next lesson together, all right? So I will see you there.